let's take a little time to check in on America's happiest couple, the couple everyone aspires to be. The greatest love story in our time, Melania and Donald Trump. We'll start with Melania and then check in on her husband, who's been going crazy. First, and there's two big Melania bits of news here. The first thing is she released this video that raised a lot of eyebrows in a way that I don't think you'd expect. It's not her defending her nude art, saying that's the focus of the media when I didn't know that was the focus of the media. It's not her saying that maybe there's more to the story about the assassination attempt against Trump. This time, it's her doing something to Trump's campaign that doesn't make sense. It's so unexpected. So here's the video, and then we'll get to an interview she did as well.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
And there again, promoting her memoir. Now, you might think that was just sort of vague language. I don't know how that's bad for Trump. Well, The Guardian obtained an excerpt of her book. And look at this. You'd think this is from a Kamala Harris book. It is imperative to guarantee that women have autonomy in deciding their preference of having children based on their own convictions, free from any intervention or pressure from the government. Why should anyone other than the woman herself have the power to determine what she does with her own body? Someone hide the ketchup at Mar-a-Lago. A woman's fundamental right of individual liberty to her own life grants her the authority to terminate her pregnancy if she wishes. I had to check this so many times. Is this Melania of Be Best fame? Is that Melania Trump? What? Apparently so. And then she bolsters it with that video that you just watched. Now, this is something that, as we've seen from Trump's unexpected flip-flops, his dishonest attempt to portray himself as more moderate on the subject of reproductive rights causes him political problems with his base, because the pro-lifers say a big reason we're voting for him is because we're pro-life. If he starts saying he's not, then we might not support him. And so then he'll flip-flop. And he said, I'm against the Florida abortion ban, now I'm for it. So that's his political nightmare. But that's just him being soft in his language. Imagine Melania, who you would think, if it were a normal marriage, has sway over her husband, saying clearly and unequivocally something I agree with, but is not something Trump's base agrees with, which is we should respect bodily autonomy. Now, it sickens me, and then I'll try to get on to other things because we have a lot to look at in the segment, but it sickens me that she would stand by her husband when he's singularly responsible, with the justice he got on the Supreme Court, for the greatest attack on reproductive rights in the history of the country. But she says she's for her husband, but she said that. Very contradictory. That's upsetting. But I look forward to seeing the outrage from MAGA. Very, very unexpected. Then CNN reports this on the next piece of news. Nearly 2 months ago, CNN reached out to Melania Trump's book publisher to request an interview with the former First Lady ahead of her upcoming memoir. After several exchanges about a possible interview, the publisher sent an unusual demand last week. An interview would cost $250,000, which is not a normal thing when you're talking about promoting your own memoir. No, the platforms where you're promoting it, so that's the exchange, not being paid $250,000 to do what you're going to see in this interview, which is on Fox News. It does lead a lot of people, by the way, that reporting to wonder, did Fox News pay $250,000 for this interview we're about to watch? And if so, to put it lightly, that's the worst spent $250,000 ever. Here we go. You tell me after we get through this, if they did pay that for this interview, was it worth it?
What, if anything, is different this time around?
I would think that the world, and especially United States, is more divided than ever before.
If I had water in my mouth, I would spit it out. Think about what the question was. By the way, before going further, do please click that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. We're racing towards 1 million subscribers. And if you're just saying, I won't do it, that's fine. But anyone who's curious, subscriber curious, go ahead and pull the trigger now so we can get to 1 million. But imagine being asked, what has changed from 2016 to now? So from when Trump got into politics, 2015, to now, what's the big thing that's changed? And you're supportive of Trump? Your answer being, we're so much more divided. I don't know why, but we're so divided. This is just totally random. This is a correlation, no causation here. But it just so happens that when Trump got into politics, ever since then, we've just gotten more and more divided. Strange, Melania, huh?
The world, and especially United States, is more divided than ever before. We are dealing with much more danger, and especially we see what's going on the world and the threats that we get. And my husband, what he went through in the last few months.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the issue of the assessment.
Yeah, that $250,000. Riveting. Then you have this.
And you often talk about you want the country united. I like the country united. Mm-hmm. Some people wouldn't believe it, but I have very strong political beliefs about what the right thing to do is to get the country on the right track, putting politics aside. How do you reconcile those that want open borders and those that want secure borders? Those that want high taxes and those that want tax cuts and a free market economy? How do you reconcile those that want to defund and dismantle the police and those that believe in law and order, or those that believe in energy independence and those that don't, or those that believe in peace through strength and those that, for example, Kamala Harris doesn't think we should use the words radical Islamic terrorism?
Radical Islamic terrorism? I think you missed a letter there. I'm sorry. Let's just quickly. We got to go through this. I'm sorry. Because so many new people are discovering the show. You all, if you watch it consistently, know what we're about to do. But let's address each point he just made.
Believe it, but I have very strong political beliefs about what the right thing to do is to get the country on the right track, putting politics aside.
So apparently this is why he can't unite with people, is because of the list he's about to go through.
How do you reconcile those that want open borders and those that want secure borders?
Who wants open borders? The guy who keeps getting his party to obstruct solutions to border security? Oh, you mean Kamala? What? That doesn't make sense. Okay.
Those that want high taxes and those that want tax cuts and a free market economy.
Kamala's proposing middle-class tax cuts, just doesn't think we need more tax cuts for those who already are extra wealthy in a time of record income inequality. And plus, Trump is not for a full free market. Have you heard his economic proposals? His tariff proposals? That's not full free market.
How do you reconcile those that want to defund and dismantle the police and those that believe in law and order, or those that believe
record federal investment in law enforcement under Biden-Harris? Harris wants to continue that. And right now in our current political moment, it's only Republicans proposing cuts to law enforcement at the federal level, like the FBI, which MAGA is saying should be defunded because it dared to hold Trump legally accountable.
Believe in energy independence and those that don't, or those that believe
we're more energy independent now than we've ever been.
Even peace through strength, and those that, for example, Kamala Harris doesn't think we should use the words radical Islamic terrorism.
I still don't know what radical Islamic terrorism is, but I do believe we should have peace. Trump didn't attain peace, so that one I don't understand either. That's an interesting thing too. I agree that sometimes a contradiction of principles means you can't unite with a certain person. What I love about our movement is it does unite people across a lot of ideologies as long as you dedicate yourself to our Constitution and democracy. Unfortunately, Trump has shown he doesn't want to do that. But at least I always, and I think this helps to have a more unifying message, at least try to fairly assess what my opponent believes. So when Trump says that we should terminate the Constitution, then I'll take him at his word and I'll quote him directly. I won't pretend that he said things he hasn't said or believes things he doesn't believe. But if you actually want to unite, you got to start with that, right? But Hannity says, I want to unite, but then goes on to do a bunch of completely unjust, inaccurate characterizations of his opponents.
How do you reconcile such differing views in your view and be united as you want, like you talk about?
I think we need to listen each other. I think we need to we have different perspectives. We have different beliefs. We need to respect our freedom of speech, our individuality. I think it's very important that ideas are heard, that we have a very straightforward communications, and we share the idea, we debate, because I think with that...
I agree, we should debate. Especially maybe presidential candidates. She could tell her husband to do another debate with Kamala, as she wants to do. Then you have this.
And what stunned me is when you actually said that when they first impeached him, oh, I'm surprised it took so long. Oh. Wow, you were expecting it.
She was expecting it. Because everyone's unfair against Trump, or she lived with Trump and she knows that he does a lot of things against the law?
When you actually said that when they first impeached him, oh, I'm surprised it took so long. Wow, you were expecting it all.
I did, because I saw how they treat him, how the media was against him. I think they are afraid of his strength. And he was leading this country with peace through strength. Yeah. So as soon he announced that he's running for the president, everything really changed.
Gosh, so strange. So strange that all of a sudden, coincidentally, when Trump starts demonizing just about every group in existence other than his base, when he goes on to try to strong arm a foreign leader into digging up dirt on his political opponent, when he calls media outlets he doesn't like fake news and thinks they should be shut down, when he later is found to have sexually assaulted someone, when he tries to damage our fundamental rights, our voting rights, with his plot to prevent Biden from coming into office. It's weird that people all of a sudden got all upset with him. They liked him before all of that. What happened? Sheesh. So that's Melania, okay? Then, running parallel to this, you understand why Melania doesn't like spending much time with her husband based on the derangement that you see here. Trump has been posting and posting and posting since the motion that was filed by Jack Smith's team that outlines even more evidence pointing to the disturbing schemes that were illegal going outside of our legal process to, like I said, block the peaceful transfer of power. But since then, Trump's been very upset, posting stuff like this. Kamala and Sleepy Joe are universally being given poor grades for the way that they're handling the hurricane, especially in North Carolina. It's going down as the worst and most incompetently managed storm at the federal level ever seen before. But the management of the border is worse. MAGA 2024. And this connects to what we talked about in a different segment about a Trump speech, where his priority with the hurricane has been one lie after another about the Biden-Harris response to it, when, as devastating and tragic as this is, and as difficult as it's been to get the resources to people that are needed, the response has been what you'd expect, and the justified one, prompt and urgent. Then he posted, I didn't rig the 2020 election. They did. Think about that argument. Jack Smith comes out with a 165-page something or another filing where he outlines specifics, getting into the nitty-gritty of how Trump said, for example, that no matter what happens in this election, I'm going to claim I won, before it happened. But MAGA wants us to believe, no, he only came to the conclusion that it was stolen because he went through the data and understood it. No, beforehand, he was telling his family, we're just going to claim victory. While the riots were going on, He said, "So what?" in response to Vice President Pence having to be rushed away because of people chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." He called people trying to get them to engage in fraud. The fraudulent electors he tried to get Pence to count. All of those are outlined in this long document. And Trump's response is no, you. No, you. You did it. You're the election stealers. And this gets to what is so often with individuals and figures like Trump, what the strategy is, which is you can create a lot of confusion if you just start projecting onto the other side what you're doing. They're the threat to democracy. They're the ones who want to rig elections when those are the things that you actually represent. I really don't want to read this. Whether now the fully debunked Russia, Iran, Ukraine, 51 intelligence agents spying on my campaign, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, or any of the other scams, this is legal action taken by the Justice Department, including the raid on Mar-a-Lago for a case that was dismissed, will end just like all the others with a complete victory for President Donald J. Trump. Make America great again. He knows you can use more than one period per paragraph, right? Goodness. Then he says more, he's a victim. You get it. That's the summary. Boo-hoo for Bubby Don. He says election interference in all caps. And you get the point. He never, in any of these Truth Social posts, goes, here's something that Jack Smith has alleged. Here's how I can refute it. He just screams election interference. Jack Smith doesn't do that. The indictment doesn't just say election interference. It goes through the specifics of what that means legally. Here's the law. Here's how he violated it. Trump's response is, no, you did the things that you did. And screaming election interference, even without yourself diving into the specifics, that should give you an indication of who has the more accurate argument, who's able to speak in details versus just slogans. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Support the show. Get the members only bonus show by clicking the join button below.